That schooner'll do me just fine, if only I can preserve some of its crew.
Pirates have long since been those of legend. Long John Silver, Blackbeard and the like were smuggling in caves, climbing the yardarm and of course swashbuckling aplenty. Now Edward Conway was, and remains, both a popular pirate figure but also one of the favourite protagonists of the Assassin's Creed franchise, back in a resynced version which I've been enjoying my time with, back out on the open seas, hiding in plain sight and generally frolicking around any cove I take a liking to, thanks to Ubisoft UK sending me review code on both the PS5 and PC versions. With this newly improved and updated game, powered by the in-house Anvil Next Engine, is this Ubisoft Singapore Reborn classic worth its weight in gold?
Being a pirate is a recipe. You are a pirate.
PlayStation 5 and PC share many options. One of them is how you wish to play the game. On PS5 and Series X, you can pick from 3 modes. Series S gets a single 30fps fidelity mode, much like prior Anvil AC games such as Shadows, which I reviewed last year on the same platforms. Now, fidelity mode targets the highest graphical settings and resolution, but lowest frame rates of 30. Performance targets the lower graphical settings and resolution, but the highest frame rates of 60, and then balance is the medium level that requires a 120Hz screen to maintain a 40fps output, offering the blend of sharper visuals of fidelity but a faster response of performance. All 3 modes use Anvil Next's own TAAU, just like Shadows, to reconstruct back to 4K from a lower base. Performance operates between 900 and 1080p, balanced around 1280p, and fidelity is approximately 1440p as a base. Now Series X is likely going to be the same, and Series S targets a 1620p output from a lower base, likely around 1080p as a low. Fidelity and balance mode both use RT diffuse and specular, i.e. reflections, to improve the game's visual identity, and performance calls the specular reflections and just leaves RT diffuse and AO, although both of these are reduced in coverage and quality in performance mode, reducing occlusion levels further into the frustum depth, leaving more glowing areas such as this hut here. Now all modes also use screen space reflections and fall back to it even with RT enabled, but obviously these artifacts are more present in the performance mode because there are no ray trace reflections at all. Many areas in the game still only use SSR, it's not across every surface and reflection, even in that fidelity mode. Now notice the higher LOD of performance mode here, with the canopy seeming to be a bug, as only performance mode has this canopy present, but it disappears as you move closer, whereas in fidelity and balanced it never appears. But more on bugs later in the video. That said, LOD is lower in performance mode, as you can see reduced objects, debris, grass, shrubs, shadow casting objects and clutter all popping in far more as you walk. The micro polygon nanite-like technology does help, but it doesn't use it on all assets throughout the game, such as grass, vegetation, shadow casting objects, so pop-in still happens even on the ultra settings on PC. Now PS5 Pro, like Shadows, added earlier this year, uses Sony's proprietary PSSR2 upscaler across the same modes, and it operates on a similar or slightly lower base resolution, but PSSR2 offers a more stable and higher resolve, sharper textures, cleaner geometry, and an image that is in excess of the PS5's quality mode, almost, even in its performance mode, reducing shadow, specular and RT flickering over all PS5 modes. It also maintains a higher level of ray tracing and shadows over base PS5 and keeps RT specular on across all 3 of its modes. The only deficit is due to the higher ray trace reflections, ambient occlusion and such in its performance mode means it can render around 840p at its lowest base from my counts, and this causes slightly more shimmer on specular elements over the PS5's performance mode. But these are rare and every other mode is much better. PS5 offers the full settings in both fidelity and balance, but performance cuts ray trace reflections, reduces RTAO, level of detail, shadows, which now use screen space shadows more over shadow maps, and hair strands are also removed. PlayStation 5 Pro keeps ray trace reflections and hair strands active in all 3 of its modes, but does reduce the FX quality such as shadows, level of detail and reflection quality in its performance mode. But this does offer a benefit in cutscenes, with ray trace reflections being disabled on PlayStation 5's performance mode, and they're also disabled in those cutscenes with a lower level of GI bounce as well, as the engine renderer requires a restart to change settings, and that means they still remain at 30fps without the additional effects. These are present in its balanced and fidelity modes. Now, talking of performance mode, it offers the best input latency and frame times, and it pretty much locked on the base PS5 and PS5 Pro, with only minor 33 millisecond dips occurring, which look to be data or context more than any direct CPU or GPU bottlenecks. Without any FPS graph, it would never even be spotted, with a low of 59 and an average of 59.99, making performance superb and a non-issue in my tests. Lower is always possible, but after hours of play, I never highlighted any since I got review code before launch. So your mileage may vary, but I sincerely doubt you'll have any problems. As you can see next to performance, fidelity mode is equally as locked, if not more so, but even here you get single frame drops, which again points to the fact that it's something else in the engine and not performance, and balance is largely locked also, with only single frame drops every now and then. So fidelity mode, balance mode and performance mode all deliver effectively perfect performance across all tests that I did in the game, across both open areas, closed off mission sections and out sailing at sea. Now, the one benefit of having these slower frame times though is it reduces pressure on bandwidth and CPU, and that also means that the game's real-time cinematics are very stable and run at the highest resolution possible. Sadly though, all modes run these at 30 FPS for the highest image quality, i.e. that fidelity mode, but it does stand out and is very odd, as the original Xbox 360 version even ran the game unlocked both in gameplay and cutscenes, and even the PC version here has that option, so that's a shame that the performance mode on PS5 and PS5 Pro does not offer the option to run these at least unlocked, if not at 60 FPS. Now, I did also note in my comparisons that they actually run slightly faster than the original Xbox One version as well.
Wouldn't pay so nice if it weren't.
Why not sail with the King's Navy? Earn a proper wage, sail under gentlemen.
Sod the Navy's gentlemen.
PC has a wealth of options to tweak and enhance the game, with ray trace lighting and reflections having far more granular controls over that of PS5, which also uses ray tracing, along with resolution, frame rate and a very detailed setting and menu option that will help the game scale across PC rigs aplenty, aided by that inbuilt detailed benchmark. But come back soon for my full PC review and hardware range testing, which will be up first for patrons and then very soon thereafter for everybody else.
And here I thought I was in the company of scoundrels.
The Anvil Next Engine is largely based on the same engine that Shadow shipped on, with enhancements to hair strands now being more refined and across more NPCs during cutscenes, but in gameplay only Kenway has them enabled. Ray trace reflections are now in the game as well on the base PS5, improved texture, material, world and geometric density is significantly increased. Global illumination via ray tracing is much better, micro polygons, almost lodless scaling, alongside robust changes to the gameplay flow, level design, pacing, camera art and combat. And overall, the game itself and character models have been significantly improved, along with materials and lighting, which have been completely recreated in some instances and are aligned to current rendering quality targets. And the extra polish on the visuals really helps seal your mind's eye version of how the game looked back in 2013. But as you can see from my comparisons with the OG Xbox One version and the PS5's performance mode, the changes are abundant in every aspect of the game's identity, helping bring the old AC game into the modern mix and match style, action versus stealth that has been evolving into since Black Flag originally launched. However, it also highlights the huge change in game production, design, technology and most of all art since this game originally shipped. Remember, this was targeting and based on the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation of consoles, as the PS4 and Xbox One versions were never its target audience. Now, objectively, the new game has more realistic, detailed and better animated characters, locales, materials and lighting. The real-time global illumination has more surface radiance and irradiance, far better occlusion, grounded objects and dynamic interaction with everything. Wood bobs on the sea, crates and fences break, grass is cut down and enemies bend, fold and die with a visceral intensity. Subjectively, it is not a better looking game overall, only a more physically and technically accurate one. The 2013-2014 game was built at the end for the Xbox 360, and this came from a pre-PBR based material engine world, something ushered in most dramatically by Ready at Dawn and The Order 1886, again a game I covered in detail at launch, but others also had started to move into BRDF pipelines and physically based rendering, which Ubisoft did themselves right after this with Unity. Black Flag comes from an art and technique first ethos, craft the shot, hand place the lights, tailor the textures, bake the light, and balance the tech with those aims within the frame time budget. The rain is a great example of this. The old game always had better rain on consoles than the PC even. I said the same back in my 2014 technical review. Multi-directional depth-based rain had presence but also dynamism. The new game looks to be built from that PC base, and the rain remains similar. A layer or two of overlapped textured rain that samples light but appears too bright, uniform, unrealistic, and less atmospheric than the original game, standing proud of the objects and the scenery and not looking very accurate at all.
The flames! Get in there, you mongrel!
This beat shot also has a stylised composition. Cube maps and proxy reflections are mixed with surface noise, tide, golden sands and long shadows. The new game offers better water, more diffuse shadows, less foliage, but the SSR artifacts stand out. The water looks less organic and the items look generatively placed here rather than each one filling the frame with purpose. Here, the burning boat, the rain-filled air, the rough seas create a shipwrecked foreboding feel, while the new game seems calm, much brighter, calm seas and fire that stands proud of the ship, as if it's a simply animated GIF sitting atop a background. Now, this is not all negative though. Edward's model, his eyes, the self-shadowing, the subsurface scattering, his skin tones, shadows, polygon count, hair, all turn a flat, glowing-eyed mannequin into a real-life person, almost with a genuine depth and solidity lost on the original model, which looks unequally lit compared to the backdrop, and much flatter and lifeless. This also shows the increase of the Xbox PS4 port from the Xbox 360 base to now, something I've covered in more depth on my other video, which is up now for my Patreon supporters, or at least very soon after this video goes public. Now, from a visual and technical perspective, the new game beats the old one in almost all areas. Animation is smoother, syncs better, and offers more fluid and dynamic blends during play. Cinematics are built on the same key frames, skeletal systems and rigs, but they have improved bone count on the models, cameras and such, but they are still bound to the original game's design and animation. Even the new wait option, where you can pass the time to sync at a time of day for the cutscene, creates jarring moments now where characters just simply ignore you until the cinematic starts. But this could also happen for different reasons in the original game. As such, the improvements are welcome, but they're not always for the better, and they don't actually feel as if all of them have been generated with love and care, and actually point to a big change of how everybody appears to move towards game creation now. It's no longer about the art driving the technology, it is very much around the technology driving the art and creation. And this game, although beautiful and well crafted, and a significant increase over the previous titles, obviously in pretty much every aspect, performance being one of them, it certainly is a game that looks like it's been generated more with the systems and code that it contains rather than the handcrafting care of somebody's eyes, hands and heart. And that, to me, does feel a little sad, as this feels like a very polished remaster, but it does not feel like something somebody made with love, care and attention, which the original Black Flag certainly did, and actually still does when you play it now.
You don't have that gold on you now, do you?
Bloody fucking pirates!
I'm on to you, Snakesby!
Now, this is not a remaster, although many aspects have been remastered. They have also been changed, updated, augmented and even extended, with far more to see, do, hear and play. Levels are all familiar but not the same. Trees, rocks, areas, grounds and more have been changed or tweaked to make them fresh. You can now dive anywhere in the game, again taken from later AC games, but the increase here to be able to dive under the oceans in caves and such without the diving bell, although still needed, does open up and change many aspects of the game. Ditto the combat system, which has seen some big changes also, with time parries opening up for multiple takedowns. Insta-fail stealth sections are gone, allowing mistakes to be simply eradicated with extreme prejudice, and this alters how the game flows, takedowns, stealth, camera. The team have made a great deal of updates to the game, not just in the visual side, but also the content side and the way the game plays and feels. And that includes new side and extra story content, new missions, cutscenes and more, which is a great way to add even more value to remakes like this and help bring back those of us who've played the original and those that are new, as therefore everybody gets something fresh.
But that is some damn fine gear.
Try the key you took from Ducasse.
Sound is also updated, with much of the original dialogue being used again, but remixed and enhanced with new lines and scenes thanks to the aforementioned new story and missions the game now houses. With combat, you can now choose how you want to play, with a good mix of stealth and actions across the original and new missions, helping the flow and progression system. Ditto the naval combat, which was ushered in with Black Flag 13 years ago, and has since been used across many of the following entries, along with its superb water and wave rendering system, which still holds up well today, but has been improved and updated here with improved ocean and water systems in this resynced version. It again makes up a huge portion of the gameplay and remains the only way to travel in style, with a bottle of rum, me pieces of 8 and an horizon to reach. Hours can drift away after all, and they do say piracy is addictive. Once you lose your first hand, you get hooked. Hooar!
See someone you know?
No, just putting on a friendly face. I shouldn't want to be mistaken for a pirate again.
Right. Flash rogue like yourself must be cautious.
As the modern remake crossover remaster period of gaming is now into full swing, largely thanks to Capcom's commercial success over the years in remaking old classics in RE2 Remake onwards, Ubisoft has now leaned into that space, which will soon become very crowded in the years ahead of us, as I discussed in detail many years ago now in my Gaming Bubble video, and even earlier. The benefits here of being able to externalise and commercialise remakes with the core game logic, sound, art, animation and more already done, and full access to the source code makes them a very attractive way to reskin an old game for new money. Black Flag is a great choice with such a big change to the AC game loop back then, but this is almost a like-for-like improvement that AC Unity was to Black Flag. Even in my original 2014 Unity preview video, covers the exact same increases in animation fluidity, parkour traversal, combat and stealth changes, and those visual upgrades thanks to more memory, faster GPUs, and dedicated HDs and obviously PBR based pipelines. It works well because the 2013 game can feel very dated in design, stealth, the Abstergo dual sections now completely gone, which is a huge blessing, new missions, returning characters and much more, but it plays it safe rather than pushing onwards as much as Capcom did. And it has many bugs, sticky physics on combat, glitchy animations, pathfinding AI bumping into areas, stuck on walls, perpetual falls to death, even the performance mode using the mixed LOD from the original code, as noted earlier in that HUD, pushing it back out by using the new LOD that the game now uses. It also crashed on me, although that happens more often on consoles than it should, and many of these come from the systemic generative code-based systems it's running under, such as buildings that have inaccessible staircases, and the same terrible AI also remains, making combat and stealth less enjoyable than it could have been had they updated it to more modern standards. It even had these lockdown cutscenes and performance mode actually run low levels of GI and no GI reflections, even though they're both capped at 30. Again, making that option a bit of a head scratcher. And even on PC, setting ray tracing to maximum caps the cutscenes to 30. Again, the game is full of little weird quirks like that on PC and console. Also, my physical Xbox disc version confirms that, like First Light, it is yet another game with a disc-based DRM, as you can only play the game once you connect and download a patch, making it completely pointless. It also makes excellent use of the Anvil engine technology. However, as noted, even though the team have done an excellent job building on the base that is the excellent Black Flag title, it really wouldn't be possible without that 2013 title that props up every aspect of the game itself, and not every technical improvement is artistically a better or more pleasing one. However, if you are looking to get back into the glory days of pirating and assassination, to set sail on the seas of high adventure that has the same old school fun focused game first that looks, plays, scales and improves on the original across PS5, PS5 Pro, PC and Xbox consoles, it offers a beautiful treasure trove treats and feels less of a chore to play and much more of a pirate's life to thee.
Well, Mr. Bonnet, let this stay twixt us. but I'm on a secret errand for His Majesty the King, God save him.
Now remember, if you enjoy my work, my website and videos, then you can like, share, hype and subscribe. You can chat with me or others in the comments down below, and obviously read more on this and other things, gaming, tech, hardware, more related on my site. But for now, I'm off to go and keelhaul the buggers that stole me rum and misuse the poop deck again, and get me disc smuggling piracy crew out onto the ocean. I'll catch you on the next one. Me hearties.
Fast as you dare. Calm her down.